Hello, hello. My name is Juji. Welcome to my channel. This is HD by Z. And if you're new here, this is a space for anyone and everyone who's super into human design, or maybe you're just finding it for the first time. I talk mostly about relationships, analyzing celebrity charts. I also do some videos about the system itself, and sometimes I interview people that I've worked with in the past. I'm so excited that you're here today because I'm going to be doing a video on John Legend and Chrissy Teigen. And this was actually a couple that was requested by one of you. So the reason why I started thinking about the two of them is because I was listening to a Christmas song that he wrote the other day called You Deserve It All. And they seem to have this picture perfect relationship. So I decided to do a little bit of digging. But before we get into all of that, I just want to remind you all that if you want to get in touch with me, all of my information will be in the show notes below. My website, how you can get in touch with me on Instagram. I'd love to hear from you if you want to DM me. And of course, how you can be a part of my online community, The Beehive. I also want to remind you all that if you want to create your own chart or your own relationship chart, you can do that on my website. It's free. Anyway, so John and Chrissy. One of the things that I found most interesting when I started looking into their relationship more is how long their courtship was. They met on the set of his music video in 2006, but they didn't get married until 2013. So that's quite a long time to date, if you will. And apparently for a lot of that, it was very casual between the two of them. So I wanted to understand their charts. I wanted to understand why they're so good together now and why it was actually correct for them to have such a long courtship. So let's take a look at their charts and see what's going on. All right, so let's start with John. He is a projector. He is splenic authority, split definition, 3-5 profile on the right angle cross of service. Now, obviously, as a projector, he stands out, right? Projectors are here to be recognized. They're here to be seen for their talent. And he has this channel 4426. We've seen this in a lot of celebrities. This is called the channel of surrender, but it's also called the design of a transmitter. So anybody who has this channel has a certain way of transmuting their message. And that's something that definitely is unique to John. He was catapulted into the stratosphere once he was discovered. And he's been able to maintain that as an EGOT recipient, meaning he has every single award known to man. I'm sure he loves that recognition. All right, so let's take a look at Chrissy. Here we go. Chrissy is a generator. She has emotional authority, also split definition, also a 3-5 profile on the right angle cross of planning. And right off the bat, you can see that she is also a 4426. When two people have the same channel, we call that a companionship channel. And in this case, their companionship is all about the fact that they're both able to be this transmitter. And there's a real recognition between two people who have that. Not to mention, this means that they both have ego definition, which means that not one person is exerting will over the other person in their relationship. Now, Chrissy is a sacral being, meaning she is this generator type. She is the one with the energy in the relationship, which is very attractive to John potentially, because we all want what we can't have, right? And she is emotional authority, so she is the authority in their relationship because he has to wait for her in order to make a decision. Let's take a look at them together. All right, so they are 9 and 0, nowhere to go, meaning all 9 centers are defined, but they do remain split together. So you can see that this head definition is split from everything below. There's no channels connecting the ajna and the throat center. And when we have this 9 and 0 connection, it is a very insulated type of relationship. There's very little room, quote unquote, for other people to come in. The one thing that I would say to them when it comes to this type of connection is that they need to make sure that they still pay attention to their children. Otherwise, their children can feel kind of left out of their relationship since they're so into each other. And as you can see, they have 5 electromagnetic connections, which is a lot. They have the channel of focus and concentration together, the 952. This means that whatever they focus on together, that's where the energy goes in the relationship. So hopefully their focus is primarily on parenting together. They also have the channel of the wavelength, the 4816, and this is the channel of talent. That means that Chrissy brings the skills and he brings the depth to the relationship. Even though she's the one with emotional authority, he does have this very deep sense of love. You can hear it from all of his songs, and potentially this is one of the reasons why he's so attracted to her, because his depth has a way of being expressed through the throat, which he doesn't independently have without her. Hence all of the love songs that he sings about her. They also have the channel of power together, this 3457. And this is all about hearing in the now, the 57, and the energy to get things done based on what you intuitively know is correct. They also have the channel of perfected form together. So, this is part of the integration circuit. It's an individual part of them. And this might not necessarily be a glue in terms of their relationship, but they probably respect each other's individuality. Otherwise, it would never work. And they have the channel of struggle together, the 2838. And we know that they've had struggles with miscarriages. We know that they've had some struggles with publicity issues. So it's really just to recognize that you're here to have a good sense of humor about the way that you struggle in life. And she seems to have quite a sense of humor that he really enjoys. And so they can potentially have this sense of humor together about their struggles. All right, so what else is there to say about these two? Well, there's an aspect of understanding a relationship that I haven't yet touched on, and that is that each profile has its own bonding strategy, meaning that the 3rd line and the 5th line, which they both have in this case, has its own way of bonding. The way the 3rd line bonds is called bonds made and broken. This is part of the description of what it means to be a 3rd line. It's not just about trial and error. It's not just about experiential learning. It's also about making bonds, breaking them, and then making them again. So one of the things that stood out to me when I was reading this article about how their relationship got started is that they hooked up on their first night, and then John went on his merry way, and she kind of didn't do anything about it, right? She wasn't like demanding that they be together. She has a defined solar plexus, so it's not really correct for her to be jumping into relationships anyway. But because it was natural for her to make the bond and break it, she was able to be a lot less clingy, so to speak. She even said it was going to do her no favors to demand that he settle down, especially since when they met, he was just becoming famous. He was still pretty young. She was still pretty young. And so there's definitely no reason to rush anything. So the two of them have this bonds made and broken type of relationship, which probably works pretty well when it comes to their home life, because he is always doing something. He's always traveling for a concert or going to an award show and whatever. And she has her own projects going on. She's on lip sync battles. She wrote a cookbook. She did all sorts of different things. And scheduling issues have been a major source of Hollywood divorces, right? Somebody is not happy with the fact that their spouse is constantly jetting all over the world, where for them, it's really natural. And so it actually works in their favor that this is the lifestyle they have, because a third line doesn't necessarily want to be bonded all the time. Even everyday people who are third lines like it when their spouse goes to work so they can break the bond and then make it again when they come home from work. So this really definitely points to why taking it slow was natural for them and it wasn't a big deal. The fifth line bonding strategy, which is their unconscious self, is seducer seduced, right? So in every given relationship, one person has to be the seduced and the other has to play the role of the seducer. And in this case, it seems Chrissy was really good at making sure that he was the one seducing her. He was the one writing the love songs. He was the one professing to the world how great she was. And she was letting it happen. And they played their roles perfectly. This bonding strategy really worked out for her. Not to mention, she has channel 4037, which is what defines her emotional authority. And this is all about the bargain, right? So he was not ready, in a sense, to settle down with her. He was sowing his wild oats, and she accepted that, bonds made and broken. But when it came time to make the commitment, she wanted to make sure that that bargain was correct for her. And the correct bargain in this case was that he was here to seduce her, to make sure that he was the one making all of the moves and that she wasn't the one trying to tie him down. The ball was in his court. So in this case, understanding their bonding strategy really helps us understand what the dynamic is between these two, even though it seems that because of the energy and because of the emotional authority, Chrissy wears the pants in the relationship. I don't even like that term, but you know, it's a well-known phrase for a reason. All right, guys, I hope that was good new information for you. I will probably be talking more about bonding strategy because I think it's fascinating. It's another layer to this whole human design relationship thing. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. I love answering those for you. Or if you want to nominate another couple for me to do analysis for, I'm all ears. I have a long list going, so bear with me. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to get notified every time I drop one of these. Until next time, ciao for now.